Hey guys, mtgnoob here. I lost the die roll and kept, and then I set the wrong hotkey, so a giant pop-up happened. So as you can see, it looks like we're having somewhat of a mirror match. That's fantastic for me, because that enables my rancors. He does not want to block with this, so I think we're going to go noble and pet. My opponent untaps and plays a Burning Tree Emissary, adding red and green to his mana pool. Then he plays a Lightning Mauler, and I am in trouble. He's going to pair both of these, and I'm going to be taking 6. This is going to be pretty unfortunate. However, I'm going to chump this Lightning Mauler, as I can't take 6 on turn 2. It's going to make me in a defensive position. However, I'm going to be able to restabilize here when I play a Mountain, Burning Tree Emissary, and Flint Hoof Boar. I'm considering not playing the Stomping Ground that turn, untapped, as I don't want to take damage. It's unfortunate that I draw another Rancor. My opponent goes Madcap Skills on his guy and makes a 5-2. I really have to get lucky here if I want to be in this race. I consider double blocking, but then that just leaves me a board of nothing. So what I have to hope for is like a Madcap Skills of my own here, or a Volcanic Strength off the top, plus an untapped green source. Okay, we hit a Mountain, and that's probably the worst draw in the deck. We're going to probably be suiting this up and trying to race. Unfortunately, we can't currently race in this position. I would say this game is all but lost. If you think that I could have done anything differently here, please let me know. I'm going to be putting it on the Burning Tree Emissary because I can't have him swinging in past my 2-2. Maybe that's incorrect, as I want to be racing and putting him on a 4-turn clock, and this does not accomplish that task. But I don't think I could be taking an extra 2 here. Maybe I should have been trading. My opponent plays a Flint Hoof Boar, and things are about to get real, as he gives it haste, and we're really in trouble. We have to block here. We can, unfortunately, take 8 and go to 1. I don't know what draw we can have that'll deal 16 damage, as if we have 9 damage on board if we get a Rancor online. I think I have to trade out Boar for Boar and go to 4. Unfortunately, that's going to be a problem, because we can't deal with this. My only hopes now is to draw Pillar and Flames. I untap into Mountain, and this game's over. Time to sideboard. Seems like we'll be playing the mirror here. I think I want all my Mizium Mortars in the mirror, as they're pretty good against. I'm also considering bringing in a Madcap Skills. Believe it or not, I'm considering taking out my 1-drops, but then I realize how crazy that is. I don't know how good Rancors are in this matchup. I understand that they're very strong on either Ash Zealot or Boros Reckoner, but I kind of want to have an answer to a 4-4 guy that has a Volcanic Strength on. I decide that since he's dude's .deck as well, I'm going to actually cut the Madcap Skills. This may be incorrect, but I feel like he'll have a way to answer this. So that allows us to bring in at least 2 Mizium Mortars. I think I'm going to actually just cut a Rancor and cut 1 Mizium Mortar. But then I think, I really don't want to get blown out by Volcanic Strength, and this gives me reach. I rethink all of my options, and I say, you know what? I don't think Rancor is going to be as great in this matchup. Let's have 2 Madcap Skills and call it a game. Time for game 2. We're on the play, and we have a pretty good hand. We're going to keep this. We lead out with Mountain on turn 1, so that I can actually play Rakdos Cackler and get it suited up. We also might want to play an Ash Zealot, but let's see what happens. All depends on what he does. We'll unleash. He plays a Stomping Ground and a Stromkirk Noble, which does not worry me too much. I understand that now, unlike last time, I can get a pretty stupid start here. So, I go Burning Tree Emissary to tap for 2 red. And then I'm going to Volcanic Strength up my Cackler. I really hope he doesn't have a Mizium Mortars out of the board here, because that's going to be problematic for us. Our hand is set up really nicely to deal a ton of damage. My opponent decides to attack with his 1/1, as I can't block it with my 2/2 since it's a human, and this gets right through. It gets a 1/1 counter on it. Then apparently he's mana screwed. So this Ash Zealot off the land plus the Ash Zealot is really going to punish him. I can't see how he has a 1 mana spell that really does anything. Looks like it's time for game 3 and some sideboarding. We were drawing all gas that game. I really don't like changing anything. Being on the draw is slightly worse, but I want all the removal that I can have. I consider taking out the madcap skills as they're not as good on the draw, but I don't know if I want to bring in 2 rancors over 2 madcap skills, as madcap skills with a weak draw for my opponent does do a lot of work. It also is pretty devastating on a first striker and trades out pretty well. I think I'm going to keep the build as is. Let's go to game 3. After some deliberation, I decide that this hand is probably not keepable, but I really don't like mulling with this deck. The fact that I have a pillar here and can potentially draw into any land that will come into play untapped kind of makes me want to keep this hand. I'm not going to mulligan it. I'm going to die on my sword here. If I gamble and it doesn't pay off, oh well. That kind of sucks, but it is what it is. This deck does not mulligan well. Having double Reckoner and a Flinthoof Boar is pretty much a mulligan, though. My opponent plays an untapped Stomping Ground, taking 2 damage, and then he plays a Rakdos Cackler. Let's see what I draw. I hit a Flinthoof Boar, which makes me really disgustingly tired of my life. But I did this to myself. Now, I have 2 lines of play here. I could play the Stromkirk Noble and hope to bash back. Unfortunately, he may slam a Volcanic Strength on this, and then I'm just dead. I debate for some time here. I finally think if he's got Volcanic Strength, it's going to beat me anyway, so I might as well just play out a Stromkirk Noble. We'll see how my decision turns out. My opponent does not slam a land yet, but he is attacking for 2 a turn, which does make me worried, and he plays his own Stromkirk Noble out. Okay, I do hit a Mizzium Mortars, which gives me some protection against a 4/4. I debate if I should grow this. I think that's the correct play, as this isn't going to grow. And now I can swing for 1. We are behind in this, even though it looks like we might be ahead. He takes 1 and my Stromkirk Noble grows. I really hope he stops playing 1-drops. He pillars my Stromkirk Noble, and now we're very behind. He beats me down to 16. We hit a red source, which I couldn't be happier about. I don't think I Mizzium Mortars this just yet, as I'd like to get a 2-for-1. I also don't think I like to block here, as having a Lightning Mauler into Reckoner is going to be 5 a turn. My opponent decides to Rancor up his guy, and that makes me a little bit worried. I don't think I could be taking a lot a turn, but I am going to take 4 here. Worst case scenario, I play Mizzium Mortars and blow this thing up at 12. I rip a Rootbound Crag, and that's fantastic. The race is on. After some debate, I'm actually going to not try to beat him outright here. I think it would be wiser of me to blow this up. That can be incorrect. I can also just play a Reckoner and block. That's an option. I will take 1 and deal him 4. We have a lot of options here. My one problem is if he slams land and then plays Volcanic Strength, I might be out of options. He's at 15 currently. So if I play Reckoner here, I think we're in a good spot. I decide not to soulbound them, and I pass my turn. My opponent is stuck on 1 mana. He decides to swing in. I gladly eat this here, taking 1 damage. And throwing 4 at his face. We go to 11. He's also at 11. Oh, I apologize. He's at 12 because 1 tramples over. He pillars my guy, which is fine by me because he's wasting his 1 mana spells on that stuff. I untap, hit a land. I'm debating if I should play out 2 boars here, a Reckoner, or just a boar in haste. I think it's probably better to play out a boar in haste and get on with it. I haste up my boar and swing for 3, as the clock that he's on is much harder to deal with. Outside of him having a hasty creature, I think we have this game. He does have the hasty creature, but he is behind. We'll see if he decides to attack here. It seems like he's going to go all in on this first striker. Now that he's got 2 mana, I can't see how he doesn't want to try to suit that up. I'm not going to let that happen. I'm going to beat him for 5 here. And then I'm going to Mizium Mortars, his 2/2 first striker. He'll be at 4, with lethal on board, plus the haster in hand. I don't think with 2 mana he's going to be able to deal me 9 damage. He hits his 3rd land and casts a Reckoner. Now, this really isn't going to do much, as I hit my land as well. I play a boar. I give my boar haste. And that's the game. Thanks for watching. Please check out